Bugs Bunny gets lost in his travel to Pittsburgh and ends up to Transylvania. He goes to the nearest castle and meets Count Bloodcount, as he, well, is a vampire, and pretty much recommends Bugs Bunny to stay into the castle and rest, as it's, well, in his own words, good for the blood. So Bugs Bunny basically reads a book about magic spells. Once he says the words abracadabra, the vampire turns into a bat. But then when he says the words hocus pocus, he turns back into his normal self. So Bugs Bunny basically sings a song about it, and it's kind of like a little jingle to keep him, energized. As we see, the vampire is, well, threatening Bugs Bunny in a way, but Bugs Bunny is not fazed, as he not only turns into an umpire, he also turns into a bat, and he also uses the words to his advantage. Once he actually turns the vampire into certain other characters, he also turns him into a two-headed crow, while meeting the two-headed female crow that he actually met earlier in the actual short. They start, well, you could say it's like a Pepe Le Pew, but in reverse, as they fly away. And Bugs Bunny, after taking the telephone, does the exact same thing, as he actually, well, casts a spell to make his ears turn into bat wings. So, he flies his way to Pittsburgh. This episode's pretty interesting to me, because Bugs Bunny being in Transylvania and also fighting a vampire is pretty much kind of classic to many other classic known vampire movies and fiction. But what's also cool is just how well animated this is. Now, it's certainly not any classic Looney Tunes from the 1930s, this was 1963. But the crazy thing is just how decently animated. There's this wolf head that literally, I thought he was alive because his eyes were like yellow with a red pupil on it. And then you have the coffin doors and the coffin hallways, like so nicely animated, especially the shadowing. The vampire, well, honestly, I've liked better vampire looks before. This one's alright, and honestly, I kind of like the way his cloak looks. It almost looks kind of like sheets that are pretty much ripped apart. But Bugs Bunny being like himself is so good. Like, he never really questions everything in this place. He usually just says, "Yeah, what a nice place." You know? What a nice place. But I do kind of like the entertaining part where he says, like, he can't sleep in a strange place no matter how good it looks. But the only way it actually helps him fall asleep is when he actually reads a book. But the thing that I can't understand, despite how being smart he is, Bugs Bunny can't decide what's the difference between a bat and a mosquito or a fly. Kind of weird. I kind of like how he actually hits him with the fly swatter, which is kind of funny. But now it's time for me to say, is this a recommendation? Of course it is. It's the Looney Tunes. How can you not be entertained by the Looney Tunes? If you never watched the Looney Tunes, you clearly are missing out, including when it comes to Bugs Bunny and many of the other characters. Bugs Bunny is just a classic. He's an iconic character, probably one of the greatest of all time, and he still is to this very day. So, I definitely recommend it for your kids, and I definitely recommend it for the entirety of the family, because this is very funny, and it's very entertaining. So, well, I hope to see you all tomorrow for another review. And, oh boy, we only got 10 more days. 10 more days until Halloween. I cannot wait. See you there on HorrorVision's Trick or Treatathon.
Da-dee-dee-dee-dee, abracapocus. Hello, operator? You can cancel that call, please. I think I'll fly home instead.